My name is Alyssa and I love to read, but over the years I've accumulated a lot of books, 260 to be exact, and now I'm left feeling overwhelmed. So I've decided to embark on a project where I read through my books and try to get my to-be-read list down to nothing. I'm calling this project TBR Zero. Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa, I read, and welcome to another video. And today we are starting another reading vlog where I read even more YA fantasy books. So if you've been following my reading journey, I've been working through my entire TBR. I have so many books physically on my bookshelves that I need to get to. So I divided my bookshelves into 3 different sections: entire series, standalones, and incomplete series. So entire series means I have every single book in a series. So that's one section of my TBR. The other one is standalones, pretty self-explanatory, they're just standalones. And then incomplete series means I have some books in the series, but not all of them. So as of right now, I'm focusing on entire series, and of course a lot of the series that I have are YA fantasies. I need to start the series, which I've been working on, like just starting book 1 in a series. So I have 4 more series I want to start, and I'm going to be getting to them in this vlog. So the first one that I've actually just started, I only read I guess the prologue, is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I have read this book before, but it was a long time ago. I think it might have been, I don't even know what year it was in, but it was a few years ago that I read this, and I'm excited to reread it. Like, I read the first chapter and I read the first chapter and I remember quite a bit. And I'm excited to read it, which is surprising because sometimes rereading doesn't work for me, but I'm really excited to get into this one. My dishwasher keeps beeping at me. So we follow Jude, and she is one of 2 twins. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. She's a twin. Her and her sister were raised in Fairy, and that's because the man who's raising them killed their parents out of revenge, and so reluctantly he's raising them, and I don't know, they have a strange relationship with him. He's fairy, they are not, they're fully human. And then they have a half-sister who's actually his daughter, who's half fae. So Jude lives an interesting life. She lives in a fairy, but she's human, so she's discriminated against because she's not a true fairy. And she's trying to make a way for herself in the world, like in this fairy world. She wants to stay there. She wants to make a name for herself. And so it's about her schemes and plans and a little bit of espionage in order to get what she wants out of fairy. So it's really interesting. I really love it. People say it's a hate to love romance. I guess it is technically, but it's more about the fantasy world and Jude herself. So I'm excited to get to this and finish it. I'll have to put this back. I also have Glitter by April and Pike. There's a couple books in here that I'm sure you've seen if you've watched my videos, but this one is kind of a fantasy. It is set in Versailles, the castle in Paris, and it's modern day, but the people in the castle act like it's the 18th century, so they wear the elaborate clothing, there's lords and ladies in there, they have elaborate parties, and our main character, I think she's betrothed to the king, and he's not a good king, and she's trying to escape, and she manages to start dealing drugs in order to make her escape. It sounds really interesting and different, so I want to give it a try. It's been on my bookshelves for a long time, and I have read April and Pike in the past and have loved her stuff, so I've been wanting to read her other books, so that's why this is in part of this vlog. I also have Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. I loved her Wrath in the Dawn series, so I am looking forward to this. I did start it at one point and put it down, but I'm really excited to pick it back up again because what I read I really enjoyed. And I think we follow our main character. She's betrothed to like a prince in another kingdom, but her carriage gets attacked, and so she's kind of on the run, and she wants to find out who attacked her and try and find her brother who would be looking for her. So I think that's a setup. She might dress up as a man, I'm not actually sure, but I'm excited to get to this. And finally, I have Nightshade, the other one that keeps popping up in these vlogs and I'm not getting to, but this is a paranormal romance. Our main character, she's a werewolf, and she is intended to be with the alpha male of this pack, but she finds herself falling in love with a human boy who's not a werewolf. And so I think there's some kind of love triangle here. And I don't know, I do want to give this a try and see if it's something I would like. I love paranormal romances, so I don't see why this would be a problem, but I'm just like finding it hard to like pick it up and just read it. So yes, I'll be getting to this hopefully in this vlog. So I will be updating you while I make progress on these books. If I told you that I started this, but I did. I feel like I need to update now, otherwise I won't get a chance to, but I'm on page 250 and my goal is to try and finish it tonight. I think I'll be able to. I have a little bit more than 100 pages, but it's going so well. This reading experience has been very positive because I don't know, I've just been really enjoying it. I'm really loving it, and I think it's helpful coming in knowing what happens. And it's been interesting reading this, knowing a lot of the twists and turns that happen in here and who backstabs Jude and what she ends up doing. There are a lot of things that I don't remember, so it's been good. I've been really enjoying it, and I think I've pretty much solidified what I want out of YA fantasy, meaning there was a time where I read it for the romance, and the past two books that I've read kind of like solidified for me that like I read YA fantasy for the fantasy, not for the romance. It's always helpful that there is a romance, but if I really need a romance, I need to just like literally pick up a romance book, because YA doesn't quite do it for me anymore when it comes to romance stories. I remember not being like the biggest fan of this romance because there is like hardly any of it, but since I'm coming into this knowing like what it is and that I'm here more for the fantasy and less for the romance, I could just enjoy it so much more. And it's interesting coming it from the beginning, knowing what happens, seeing the hints coming into everything. I did forget some twists in here, and I just love how brutal this world is. You can't trust everyone. Everyone's going to betray someone. It's a bloody affair, a lot of backstabbing, and I just love it so much. And I just love this brutal fairy story. I think this is like one of the brutalest ones I've read before. Yeah, like I'm definitely feeling that way, where there is like legit danger for our heroine or our main character. Like she is not safe, and I really appreciate that. I think that's great. I really love this world, and I'm excited to read other things by Holly Black. And I'm excited to continue on. Like, I know I've heard like the series goes down, but I don't know, I have high hopes. I have optimism. So I love all the scheming. I love all the like, I don't know if espionage is the right word, but like her doing a lot of spying and learning how to be a spy, and then her herself doing her own scheming. And yeah, it's just been a good time. So I'm so happy to say that I finished The Cruel Prince yesterday morning. I finished it. I'm giving it 5 stars. I feel like I've said everything already that I have to say, but this is still amazing and I still love it and I'm so excited to keep going. I wish I could just pick up The Wicked King, but I keep on forgetting there's a short story. I'm sure it's not essential for me to read it, but I wouldn't mind picking it up before moving on to The Wicked King. But I'm more so excited to read The Wicked King. I didn't have any tabs, but I definitely dog-eared a lot of pages. I was like, do I want to do that? I'm not sure if I want to, but I was just like, you know what? It's my book. Let's make it look like it's well loved. So I gave it, it's 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. And I forgot, I don't think it's a spoiler. Well, I won't say it. But there's a romantic scene in here, kind of, that I totally forgot about. And it was amazing. It was just enough things that I remembered so I can like see how things kind of unfolded, plus things I forgot. There was like the right amount of balance for that. And then I picked up Glitter, finally, and I read, yeah, I dog-eared this one too. I read 40 pages. This is not gonna happen. This is not gonna happen. I'm not gonna read this. And I'm just so glad that I know that now. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. It's just not the story I wanna read. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, like, I think, at least in my opinion, like, I still really like April Lynn Pike and I'm willing to give her other stuff a chance. And I still absolutely love her Wings series. But I think she started the story in the wrong spot because we're following Danica. And this is like a weird dystopian world, which is really interesting and intriguing, where there's kind of like Versailles itself has its own kingdom, I think, and ladies and lords live there. And the king, he's evil. He's a young king. He's like 19 and he's like pretty much cosplays King Louis, where he has like the big elaborate hair and the stick and everything. He doesn't go by that name, but he's the king. And our main character, she is betrothed to him, and the only reason why she's betrothed to him is because she caught him in the act of murder. And her mom is conniving and blackmails basically the king to have Danica marry him. And now Danica's frightened because you don't really see anything, but you know what's happening. Like the way he killed this young woman was like in the midst of lovemaking, and it was, so this guy's terrifying. He's scary and she does not want to be married to him. The society is also strange because like there's always like the, you know, the elaborate parties, they dress up like the period time, like so they dress up like it's the 18th century Versailles and they eat that way, so they have all these elaborate parties with ladies and lords and everything, lots of gossiping, things like that. But it's like the future. I think they said something about like the 22nd century, so yeah, it's in the future, but they're pretending it's the past, which is interesting. And I didn't get to the part where she starts dealing drugs, but that's part of the synopsis, where her only way out is to try and raise enough funds to get herself out. And in order to do that, she starts dealing drugs, and I think she might fall for the drug dealer. I'm not sure. Anyways, it starts off with her like already engaged, and we have the flashback of her like discovering the murder, but like she's already engaged. And I was reflecting more on it. It's like I would be more interested in her coming to this new society. She talked about how she moved here like 4 years ago with her parents because her dad got a job or something like that. So I thought it was like, you know, it's such a weird spot to start this story because it would be more compelling and interesting to like see her come into this like strange society, because I think this is unique to the castle. Like it's not, people don't act this way out in normal society. If we start off when she's like brand new and like learning what it's like to live in the castle and being introduced to all like the high-tech stuff, because there's like there's technology that is running the castle, where so there's cameras everywhere. They have like special like lenses in their eyes, so I think maybe they have like special contact lenses where they can like, it interprets like people. So if you look at someone, they can tell you like everything about that person, and you don't need a translator. I think it would just translate it for you or something. Like, it's like weird. It's an interesting society, and I'm like curious about the society. I'm curious about the setup of this castle, but like you're just thrown in there. So I would prefer the story to start when she's like first coming to the castle and learning about this world and discovering it for the first time, and then like maybe being intrigued by the prince, and then finding him committing murder, and then the blackmail happening. Like, I think that story would be way more interesting instead of just being thrown in, because I just feel like I don't really know what's going on. It would have been more interesting to kind of like hope that she ends up with the prince, but then find out that he's actually like not a good guy. I think that's a more compelling story instead of being told that like, no, this guy's a bad guy, we have to get her out, which is kind of like weird and unfortunate. And I was just kind of bored, and I realized like I just don't want to read this kind of story. So I'm officially DNFing this and unhauling the series. It's just 2 books. This could have been a 3-book series if she started the story sooner in the timeline. It doesn't matter, I'm not gonna read it. So I'm going to pick up finally Nightshade. So since I'm in a DNF mood, since I'm okay with putting books down, I'm gonna see if I'm interested in this finally. So and things like that. So I went out and I came back home, and I still couldn't find everything. I'm not like freaked out or anything, but I couldn't find the right medicine. There was hardly any options for my kids for cold and cough and stuff like that. So I'm going to go out and try other stores. I also plan to check out some books. My husband's home, so that's why I'm able to go out, and he's well enough to like keep an eye open. I should let you know that I have started Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. I'm that far through. I don't think I told you, and I don't have it here, I should have brought it with me, but Nightshade, I tried about 50 pages like I usually do, and it's just not for me. And I always feel bad when I don't like something and it's not working out for me, but I always get reassured when I pick up a book that I do actually like. So Nightshade just wasn't for me. It was apparent, the world was really confusing. It wasn't overly well explained. We follow a main character. She is like an alpha werewolf, but she's like an alpha female. And her like pack, she's a teen, she's really young. Her pack is going to be aligned with another pack through marriage. So she's destined to marry this alpha male, and he has his own pack. I think they're about the same age. So they were going to be aligned, but she one day saves a human boy who was attacked by a bear, and supposedly she was supposed to just let him die. It wasn't allowed for her to save him. I don't understand why, but that is the case. She let him drink her blood because her blood has healing powers. And so he gets brought into the picture. They do go to school, and they go to school with humans, so they meet at school. but they're not supposed to like hang out or something. And then there's like other factions or groups of people that are associated with the werewolves, but there's something else. They're called like guardians, and there was another group called keepers, I think, or something like that. And it made it sound like there was one group of people who were in charge of the werewolves. They didn't explain it well enough, so I was kind of confused. It's clear that the female character has attraction for both boys, and obviously she's supposed to be with the other alpha male guy character, but clearly this other young boy is gonna mix everything up, and they're supposed to get married like really soon. And there was things happening that I just didn't like. So her mom was like trying to get her to dress more feminine and like saying it was an essential thing to do as an alpha female, and I didn't like that kind of talk. So there was kind of tropes of like not like other girls kind of situation. I didn't understand what was wrong with her just wanting to wear jeans and t-shirts, but okay, whatever. Like, that's pretty normal. Most women dress like that now, so I don't know. I thought that was kind of strange, and I just wasn't interested, so I decided not to continue. I DNF'd that at like about 50 pages, but I picked up Flame in the Mist, and I knew I was gonna love this, and I love it because it reads like a fantasy. There's like no romance right now at all, and I don't even know if there will be, but we follow, I think, Mariko. I think that's her name. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. But she's betrothed to the Emperor's son, and it's his, kind of, I don't want to say bastard, but kind of, his consort's son. So he is not the legitimate son who will become the Emperor. He's just one of his sons, but he is involved in the running of the country, I guess. But anyways, she's betrothed to him, but her group, so she is traveling in a litter, I think that's what called, like an enclosed box, and like the soldiers are carrying her. So her litter and the soldiers who are protecting her, or samurai, get attacked and killed, and she manages to survive. They don't realize that she survived, but someone was out to kill her, and she believes that the Black Clan was behind it, and possibly the Black Clan was hired to have her killed. So she sets on a journey to discover who's behind this. So she does dress up as a boy, so to allow her movement. Her brother, who is a famous samurai, is seeking her. He's like on her trail and trying to find her. And then she does get swept up in the Black Clan group, and she actually becomes a recruit, and the plan is to seek revenge or find out more information. So she is in their camp, I guess. They're treating her poorly, but she learns that they've decided to take her in as one of their own, but she's kind of like the new recruit, so they're not being kind to her, and they think she's a boy, a young boy, and the leader of the Black Clan is in relation to the Emperor, not actually like by blood, but like his father was assassinated by the Emperor, or killed, I guess. Not assassinated, that's the wrong word, but they executed him, and the Emperor did that because he was feeling threatened. So the leader of the Black Clan has a lot of hard feelings, clearly, against the Emperor and those in charge. So it's interesting. I'm really liking it so far, and I'm curious to see what happens. So the parallels to like the Mulan story is that she dresses like a boy, and I have a feeling that maybe she'll start falling for maybe one of the men in this Black Clan, but it's not really clear. But it's clear that she's really smart and she's very clever, and I'm assuming she's going to learn how to fight properly because she doesn't know everything. She knows some things. She's able to hold her own, but she can't hold her own against any of the men in the Black Clan. So yeah, I'm curious to keep reading. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not quite halfway, but most of the way through. I would have read some more already, but I had to deal with stuff with my family, so hopefully I don't know if I'll finish it today, but I'm definitely going to read some today. But I'm going to go book shopping and see what I can find.
city before us. Now tell me you feel it, tell me you know it, tell me you're cold and tell me I'm water, and you just
So I read a little bit yesterday and that's the right way. A little bit today, a little bit yesterday. I'm on page 292. I have about 100 pages left, so that's good. I might finish this today, which I hope so. I'm loving it. It's so good. I do find the writing, like, I like her writing. I do like really descriptive stories. Renee Attier is really descriptive, so you have to be prepared for that, and I find myself almost getting distracted by the writing because I just want to like know what happens, and I have to like slow down. I'm almost like rushing over her words, and I almost have to slow down to like pay attention to what she's saying. But I do love it. There is a romance in here, and I'm loving that too. It is, you know, there is this angst because you don't know when her secret is going to get revealed, and you don't know what's going to happen. I can pretty much guess what is behind the attack or who wanted her dead. I can pretty much figure that out. It's not that hard to piece it together, and I'm enjoying it so far. I love it. So I'm gonna hopefully finish this. I did make some purchases. So confession time. Most of these purchases are not for books that I'm adding to my TBR. I was taken by some beautiful covers and setbacks on these older historicals. Not all of them are old, but a lot of them are. The only two I bought for my TBR, Born in Death, so one of the books in the In Death series by J.D. Robb, and then Devil in Disguise by Lisa Kleypas. This is part of the Revenals meets the Wallflowers, so I guess these two series like converge at some point, so I did need to add this to my collection. The rest are just historicals with some beautiful either covers or setbacks. I'm not adding these to my TBR. I've thought about maybe, you know, for Instagram specifically, or I even thought about starting a TikTok, so that's why I purchased these books. So these are not going on my TBR. So the first one is The Rebel Bride by Catherine Coulter. So let's see if I can, it's very like shiny, and that is the setback there. Then this is a newer title, A Royal Kiss and Tell by Julia London. So it looks like that with that setback. Midnight Princess by Joe Goodman. This was just for the cover, to be honest. It's so beautiful, and then there's a bit of back as well. Another beautiful cover is The Devil Earl by Deborah Simmons with that cover. It's beautiful. Another cover, Love, Hear My Heart by Sonia T. Pelton with this cover. And then there's like a sticker thing here. I don't know, I just I couldn't resist these covers. And then Big Bad Wolf by Linda Jones, which is a fairy tale romance. So it looks like that. So a lot of these don't necessarily have setbacks, but the covers are just everything. Actually, most of these are just cover buys, where these two have the setbacks. Oh, I couldn't resist. A lot of these were only $2. Actually, these three were $2. This was $2.50. They were all just too cheap and beautiful. I couldn't help myself. So I'm happy to announce that I finished Flame in the Mist, and I really, really liked it. It was a good ending, some really good twists near the end. I enjoyed the romance, which was a lot of fun, but like just as a fantasy, it was really, really good. And there was some surprising stuff that I did not see coming at the end. There were some confusing things, like the magic isn't overly explained, which I actually usually mind because I don't have to worry about understanding it fully, but it is still a little bit confusing. And there was some twists at the end that, like I said, I didn't see coming, but were a little confusing too. I'm trying to like understand all the dots a little bit. There was just like some confusion, like I still don't quite understand, but that's okay. I still had a lot of fun reading this. I thought it was really, really good. And is it a Mulan retelling? Yes and no. This is like based on Japanese history. Like it's full of like samurais and geisha and things like that, and there's like an emperor, and they talk about the shogun. And I think Mulan is Chinese history. It is different in that regard, but you know, about a woman dressing up as a man and learning how to better herself and train, and almost resenting being a woman, and because she is a woman her life is restricted, and being married off and things like that. All that stuff is similar, but besides that, it's not the same, and she doesn't like fall in love with a prince or anything like that, but the romance is with someone with some kind of warrior history. So yeah, I still really liked this a lot, even though it kind of maybe leans closer to 4.5 stars. I think I'm just not gonna do half stars because this is like, it's a 5-star read. I really enjoyed it. I will be continuing. I don't know how eager I am to continue, but I will. Like, I wouldn't be upset reading it. So 5 stars. So to wrap up this reading vlog, I attempted to read 4 books. I started off with The Cruel Prince and I loved the reread. I gave it 5 stars. I'm so excited to continue on. Then I tried Glitter and it didn't work out, so I DNF'd it at around 50 pages. Then I tried Nightshade. Again, it didn't work out for me. I gave it 50 pages and I'm DNFing it. And finally I read Flame in the Mist and I loved it and I gave it 5 stars. So some successes, some failures, but at least I found some 5-star reads. And yes, so thank you so much for watching. I would love to know if you've read any of these books before. If you have, comment down below. Love to know your thoughts and opinions about them. If you have any great young adult fantasy books or even adult fantasy books that you want to share recommendations, please leave those down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you've not done so. You can follow me on Goodreads and Instagram, and you know what, I want you to keep reading. Bye.